30th of September 2000, the Gaza Strip. A child and his father caught in a hail of bullets. The same spot 1 year later. An Israeli military outpost, a deserted stretch of land punctuated by 2 roads. And the remains of the wall against which they sought refuge. Mohammed al-Dura was just 12 years old when he became a martyr. This image travelled around the world, yet this film will reveal what the image does not.
قبل 3 أيام يعني بتذكر 3 أيام بالضبط فقال لي يما اللي بيستشهد.
I remember that 3 days before his death he asked me, if you're killed in Netzarim, do you die as a martyr? As a mother, you understand, I was afraid to answer my child's question. I was afraid of talking about it. But God the Almighty answered him. God granted him martyrdom.
On the 30th of September, thousands heed the call of their leaders to mount another protest. Protest in Gaza starts early. So too for the cameraman Talal Abu Rahma. He is on his way to the Netzarim junction. For Netzarim, the Israeli settlement, the 30th of September marks the beginning of the year 5761. Together with the other 300 villagers, Sarah Kostiner is celebrating today Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. The soldiers stationed in the nearby military garrison to guard the settlement already sensed that violence would overshadow the New Year celebrations. For the first time they recall the events of that tragic day. For reasons of security they remain anonymous. 2 months previously, the peace negotiations at Camp David had failed. Just 3 days previously, a soldier from their unit was ambushed and killed. 2 days previously, the right-wing politician Ariel Sharon staged a visit to Temple Mount. On the previous day, the latest Palestinian uprising, the Al-Aqsa Intifada, was launched, initially on the West Bank. However, the soldiers in Netzarim are aware that the Intifada will spill over into their area. On Rosh Hashanah, the New Year festival, normally a time for joyous celebration, but even under less dramatic circumstances, Jewish festivals mean one thing for the soldiers garrisoned here: high alert.
O'clock in the morning, everybody woke up early, and we started getting prepared for the usual, throwing rocks and fireballs. That's what we were prepared for.
We expected to be some arrivals in the streets, some hundreds of people to come because of military infos tell us this. So we started to do the practice in the station.
At 6:30 a.m., the soldiers travelled the 1 kilometre from their garrison to the outpost at the junction. "25 soldiers, appreciably more than usual, wait for the demonstrators to congregate.
First people that come to the junction are the cameramen. Afterwards, all the people come.
We know that when cameramen turn up, then something is going to happen. That day, we realised immediately that something big was going down, as there were a lot of TV crews.
Karni, the border crossing to Israel, where the settlers must run the gauntlet. When travelling in the armoured buses from here to Netzarim, their route takes them across this junction and through Palestinian territories. A stretch of a road a mere 4 kilometres long, yet sometimes fatal. Consequently, the army stepped up protection for the settlers, which the Palestinians regard as a provocation. The Netzarim junction has long since entered into popular legend. Its Palestinian name, Martyrs Junction. Many have died here, both Palestinians and Israelis. The main road to Gaza leads past Mohammed's village, El Baresh, and is only used by Palestinians. It is intersected by the approach road from Karni to Netzarim. Israelis and Palestinians used to jointly guard the junction at a time when both sides were hopeful for peace. But that was before the 30th of September. The day begins like countless other protest days. The schools are on holiday and the children gather at the crossroads. Palestinian demonstrators, Israeli soldiers. Both sides have clear instructions and know the routine exactly. Stones and rubber bullets, Molotov cocktails and tear gas, and the ever-present cameras. At least 10 photographers and TV crews have gathered here. Palestinians working for Western media agencies and TV stations, supplying news pictures across the globe. Among them is a cameraman from France 2 TV network, Talal Abu Rahme. He is filming the scenes he has known for many years now.
From 7 o'clock until afternoon, it was only throwing stones, throwing cocktail Molotov, and the army answered by rubber bullets and tear gas.
Molotov cocktails in the name of Allah. Around midday, the situation begins to escalate.
It was pretty scary, you know. We found ourselves in the middle, all around us, people trying to climb on our base. To succeed to climb on top of our base. It was pretty scary.
At the same time in El Baresh, 2 kilometers away from the junction. Mohammed is still sleeping. Normally he should have been at school long ago, but today is protest day. Mohammed loves protest days because his school closes down and there is always something happening at Netzarim Junction. His mother has already forbidden him to go down there. He has breakfast at 10 a.m. When she goes looking for him, his sisters explain he has gone off to Gaza with his father.
On protest days, I was always afraid that he would join in the demonstrations and get into mischief. After all, he had nothing to do on such days. On protest days, people hang around in the streets and set fire to things, which of course Mohammed enjoyed. But on that day, I never expected that he would go there. I thought he was safe because he was with his father.
The road from El Baresh to Gaza crosses the Netzarim Junction. Since early morning, a raging battlefield. It is around 11 a.m. when Jamal al-Dura drives across the junction with his son Mohammed. They were intending to go to Gaza to buy a car, explains Mohammed's father later, but it is protest day and most shops are closed. Having arrived at the automobile market, they are unable to find the type of jeep Mohammed wants. So towards midday, they club together with other passengers and drive back home again in a taxi. As they approach the junction, they are stopped by the police.
This is where the taxi driver had to stop. The junction was cleared of traffic to allow ambulances to transport the injured to hospitals. Mohammed and I and the others in the taxi then got out. We were keen to get away from the junction and started walking home.
On foot, over a junction which is banned to traffic and which is already teeming with injured people. Instead of taking the shortcut through the much safer orange groves, they stick to the main road, the scene of the riots, and proceed to cross over the junction. At the same time, the settlers in Netzarim are praying to celebrate the New Year on Jewish soil. Of this they are convinced. As proof, they point to archaeological findings from a synagogue in Gaza dating back to biblical times. Constructed of concrete, their new synagogue also serves as a bunker.
We were in the synagogue when suddenly we heard shots and explosions. We were told that hundreds or even thousands of Arabs had encircled the Netzarim junction, endangering the lives of our soldiers. We were afraid that they would head in the direction of our settlement and would break through the fencing.
But what triggered the shooting at the junction? Who started it? When did the stones and the rubber bullets, the Molotov cocktails and the tear gas turn to live ammunition?
We were standing on the pavement. Then they began to shoot at us.
The shooting begins at midday, suddenly and without warning. On this, all sides agree. Demonstrators and camera crews, everybody runs for cover, including Talal Abu Rahma. Suddenly, from nowhere, a minibus approaches. Talal and several children attempt to find cover behind it.
In the first 5 minutes, it was shooting all direction. But after that, no. It was only that direction, the direction behind me.
Behind Talal Abu Rahma lies the Israeli base. Across from him are Jamal and Mohammed Al-Dura. Crouching beside them is another cameraman with his assistant. These two and many others then escape and find cover behind the jeep which keeps driving past this spot. Only Jamal and Mohammed Al-Dura remain here. Having brought himself to safety on the other side of the road, Talal Abu Rahma and the other children then observe what transpires over the next 45 minutes.
It was clear they were focusing on them, because in that area now, nobody there except the boy and the father. Nobody.
I raised my right hand to signal to them to stop shooting at my son and me. They were shooting at us with fully automatic weapons. But they didn't stop.
The boy got hit in his stomach while I heard that boom and the dust came. After the dust was clear, I saw the boy boom in his father's lap and was bleeding.
The decisive moment. Mohammed is still alive. A hand covers the lens. The film is cut here and only returns when the dust has settled. Mohammed now lies dead.
Mohammed was an innocent child. He was murdered before the eyes of the whole world.
These events, they show the world, you know. There is a boy got killed for no reason.
Did the soldiers see the father and son? Did they target them deliberately?
It's not 1 minute they shot them, okay, by mistake. 45 minutes. If you look in your eyes could see like 200, 300 meters. What, they are bugs over there? They cannot see them? There is a man and a boy, big.
The army marksmen, Ariel, Alexei and Idan, are stationed at the northernmost point of the outpost. They have the best view of the junction. Stones, Molotov cocktails, tear gas, rubber bullets fill the air. Then suddenly, shots.
The first shooting caught us in surprise. By luck, people heard the shooting and ducked right away, and then started through the windows. Massive shooting hitting in the outpost.
They found us from the junction in the Palestinian station, and especially from the twins. When they find sound, each one go behind the shelter or something inside the fire. So all around the station were firing, all around.
They were positioned on the two high-rise blocks known as twins, and from there they were shooting down at us.
Each one of my soldiers in the station get in the safe place, almost ground level.
Diagonally opposite, some 120 meters away, the father and son are crouching behind the concrete barrel.
From our station we can see the barrel. The other side of the barrel from behind he was hiding, supposedly. We can see all with our eyes, all with binoculars or something like that, anything from this range. We didn't see nothing. We didn't see no one there. We see in the station of the Palestinians they had cracks between the walls, and sometimes a policeman took his gun and shot at us. Then we see it, and we shoot it inside the crack. So direct.
So the soldiers were aiming at the Palestinian station. Some 30 meters further to the left were the father and son. Is it not possible that even trained marksmen could miss their targets?
Our weapons are equipped with Trigicon reflex optics and laser. This allows us to aim very accurately. No one had switched to automatic.
There
was no accident because we didn't fire automatic weapon. They found us automatic weapon. They're not so much trained as us.
They didn't really see what they were shooting at, the Palestinians. They were shooting like crazy.
Whoever shot him, and I am certain of this, it was neither me nor my friend, in which case it could have only been the Palestinians.
The Palestinians claim it was the Israelis claim it was the Palestinians, but for Jamal it is clear. His son is dead, shot by Israeli soldiers. Assuming they were responsible, was it a tragic accident or cold-blooded murder?
It was clear they were focusing on them, because in that area now, nobody there except the boy and the father. Nobody.
There was no accident.
It was no accident. The range was too close and the visibility too good. Both sides agree on this. And as the soldiers themselves add, their aim is too accurate. So was it murder? But for what motive? Why would soldiers want to murder an unarmed man and his son? Even after the shooting had started, many people were running across the junction in open view. Why weren't they also hit? And why did trained marksmen take 45 minutes to hit a stationary target? Jamal and his son are taken to hospital. 15 minutes later, Talal Abu Rahmeh also manages to find safety. He has to hurry. At 4:30 that afternoon, he is scheduled to feed his dramatic pictures to Jerusalem via satellite. He phones his boss, Charles Indelin, the France 2 correspondent, and explains what has happened. By 4:15, he has already reached the studio in Gaza, armed with around 60 minutes of film footage.
How much did you feed? How many minutes?
Like 6.
And what did you choose? All that material from the boy?
From the beginning, I just give him from the beginning, from the shooting to the end.
And but you were shooting before that even. You did other stuff before that, right?
Yeah.
Did you also feed that?
No.
Just that?
No, I decide.
Just that scene?
I decide what's important. I'm the journalist. I decide what's important. All of that throwing stones. Why I give them throwing stones and I have shooting?
The footage arrives at France 2 Studios in Jerusalem at around 6 o'clock. Andelin asks the army for a statement. Without having seen the pictures or having interviewed the soldiers involved, the military spokesman speaks of a cynical misuse of children. Charles Andelin compiles his report, based on the footage and the impressions of his cameraman.
We decided to give the video for free to the agencies with whom we have common agreements. We didn't want to make money with the death of a child. We are keeping, of course, the copyright.
On the same evening, these images are distributed and aired around the globe, throughout the Arab world, in America, in Asia and in Europe, and of course, in Israel. Moshe Taman also watches the pictures and is shocked. He knows the Palestinian. It is his friend, Jamal.
It was a true relationship between brothers. I was always popping in. He used to invite me to his home. I have slept there overnight and eaten there. I used to come and go like one of the family.
في داخل البيت أتجول كأنه واحد من البيت وإيش اللي بدي إياه أسويه في البيت ما العلاقة مستمرة حتى لأنه يعني بتصل عليه على البيت تلفون.
We still keep in contact. We telephone and he always inquires after me and has offered several times to send me money.
حتى توجه إلي عدة مرات إنه يبعث لي فلوس.
Jamal has worked for Moshe's building company for 20 years. Two years previously, they danced together when Moshe's son Yanif celebrated Bar Mitzvah and his resurrection. For Yanif contracted leukemia, and throughout his illness, Jamal suffered and eventually rejoiced with the family when their son recovered. And now Jamal has lost his son. On that fateful day, the 30th of September, Moshe Taman rings up Jamal's family. He offers to pay to have his friend treated in a specialist clinic near Tel Aviv.
I asked what was happening and they replied, Moshe, the Palestinian authorities refused to let Jamal be taken to hospital in Israel.
Jamal Al-Dura is treated in the Shifa hospital in Gaza. He has been hit by several bullets in the arm, abdomen and leg. By examining the ammunition, it would be easy to determine from which type of weapon the shots were fired. But, according to the doctors, no bullets were found because they fragmented on entering the body. But no fragments were recovered either. Therefore, no indication of the type of weapon used. Was it a caliber .762 Kalashnikov, as used by the Palestinians? Or the Israeli M16? Caliber .556? Whilst Jamal is undergoing treatment, his son's body is being prepared next door. Time is running short for the pathologist, as Mohammed is due to be buried on the same day as a martyr.
Following the examination, it was clear that the bullet entered the body from the front and from above. The bullet entered the body in the abdomen and exited the body here. This wound was fatal. The second injury lies just beneath the chest, and the bullet exited through the left hip bone. This wound was also fatal because it shredded major blood vessels. The third injury in the left leg was relatively harmless.
أما الإصابة الثالثة اللي هي في الرجل اليمنى فإصابة بسيطة.
The conclusions of the pathologist are based on his external inspection of the body. A full autopsy is not performed, the paths of the bullets are not mapped, and the internal injuries are not examined, although this would have identified the caliber of the fatal bullet and its path through the body. But for the doctor, the evidence is so unequivocal that an external examination sufficed.
It was the Israeli army because the wounds are so high, and besides, the Arabs had no reason to shoot him. He was an Arab like them.
On the same day, Muhammad is given a martyr's burial. Thousands of mourners follow his coffin. Millions of people throughout the world watch the funeral procession. Muhammad is now a symbol of this intifada, which by its second day has already claimed more casualties than the hospitals in Gaza can treat alone. Consequently, the injured are taken to Egypt and Jordan. On the following day, Jamal al-Dura is also transported to a hospital in Amman, where he is visited by King Abdallah himself, who also donates blood. Subsequently, the Libyan President Gaddafi also puts in an appearance. At the invitation of the king, Jamal's family accompanies him. He talks to other relatives and friends on the telephone. He speaks to Moshe, his employer and friend in Israel, to whom he relates crucial details which remain unknown to the media.
He told me that he had been hit by a total of 9 bullets. 5 bullets were removed from him in the Shifa hospital in Gaza, and the remaining 4 bullets in hospital in Amman.
So were the bullets recovered which could have established whether the shots were fired from a Palestinian Kalashnikov or an Israeli M16. But for the demonstrators gathering in front of the hospital, the parliament and the Israeli embassy in Amman, the issue is clear-cut. It was cold-blooded murder. Of that they are certain, and they are not alone in that conviction. The pictures of Muhammad's body and of a brutal occupation force which murders innocent children are soon posted onto over 400 internet websites. Under mounting international pressure, the army and the government issues a statement conceding the possibility of a tragic accident. Henceforth, this is regarded as an admission of guilt.
According to what we knew, and we knew very little, it was possible that the child was killed during the crossfire, of course not on purpose, with the possibility that the fire came from the Israeli side. But very quickly we understood that there was a need for an investigation.
Subsequently, General Yom Tov Samir is appointed to head an inquiry into the incident. A controversial decision, since Samir is also the responsible general for the Gaza Strip, and he is consequently regarded as biased. In the days that follow, the military situation escalates rapidly. Samir, the general, takes a number of decisions which are in direct conflict with his activities as an investigator.
The first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I was scared only about casualties, not about media, not about anything except casualties in the junction or in all the Gaza Strip.
And over the next few days, their numbers continue to grow, fueled by the pictures of Muhammad's death, which mobilized the masses, creating ever more martyrs and hundreds more casualties, primarily Palestinians. The peace process has finally failed. On the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, the spiral of violence is escalating rapidly, no less so than at the Netzarim junction, which remains off-limits for Israeli soldiers.
We couldn't step out to take any shots there with any kind of camera, not army, not Israeli sides, only Palestinian could step there.
Next day, Palestinian police visit the scene to stage a photo opportunity for the press. No forensic evidence is secured. Why not?
When there are differences in the assessment of a specific case, when further inquiries prove necessary, then of course an investigation is mounted. But when there is an agreement over the identity of the culprit, then there is no need to conduct a detailed investigation.
Then what do you all agree on?
That it was the Israeli side who committed this murder.
The only people to closely examine the scene of the shooting are the Palestinian camera team. Among them, Talal Abu Rahmeh, who is also filming the next day.
We have evidence, the kind of the bullet. I film it, the kind of the bullet. We pick up the bullets from the wall.
What bullet was it? What would you say? How long was it?
I don't know. You interviewed one from the general, he could tell you.
But the general claimed that no investigation took place.
France do collecting.
So you're doing a better investigation job than the police?
No, we have some secrets, you know, for ourselves. We cannot give anything, just everything.
However, even the footage which was released raised crucial questions. On the concrete barrel lies a rock which is markedly flatter than the one seen on this picture aired on Palestinian TV, which was taken just a few hours previously. In this picture, however, the rock on the barrel matches the one in the original scene, so someone must have exchanged the rocks, but why? The height of the concrete barrel is critical in ascertaining whether the soldiers could have seen father and son. In the scenes captured on film, at least, the father's hand does not rise above the stone and therefore remained invisible to the soldiers. Over the next few days, no attempt to establish the protection provided by the concrete barrel and the various rocks can be undertaken. The junction becomes a scene of intense fighting, preventing any forensic investigations. Reconnaissance aircraft monitor the situation. Only Palestinian camera crews obtain close-up pictures. Their footage reveals that the children have disappeared. The base comes under fire.
It was so hard to stand from 6 in the morning until late at night with the equipment on you, and they fire on you and fire back, throwing you rocks and bottles. It went for about 8 days. You can't imagine what it could do for you.
The junction remains impassable for the Israelis, effectively cutting off the settlers in Netzarim from the outside world. Never before has it been so acutely obvious that they are living on enemy territory. 2 days after Mohammed's death, supplies have to be airlifted in. Families are evacuated. Exactly 1 week after the 30th of September, the general issues his order. Everything within a radius of 500 meters around the outpost is destroyed.
It was a clear cut. The day after we destroyed all, it started to be a quiet area. No casualties on both sides.
The outpost after 7 days' siege. These pictures, taken by the Israeli military, show the bullet holes and scorch marks. In military terms, the operation was a victory. Calm subsequently descended on the junction, but the investigation was now seriously hampered. Politically speaking, it was a defeat.
If you visit the scene, you will see that they have torn down the wall to conceal the crime they committed in broad daylight.
حتى انهم يخبئوا الجريمة تبعتهم اللي ارتكبوها في وضح النهار امام مرأى العالم بأسره.
Ask me today, what's your decision? To destroy all the evidence around in order to avoid casualties tomorrow, or to keep it and have casualties? That's logically. I will take the same decision.
Ultimately, it was a decision based on military rather than political, let alone forensic considerations. With Mohammed's body unavailable for his inquiries and the scene of the killing now destroyed, the ensuing investigation rests on the work of Israeli experts and on the video footage taken by France 2, the very same pictures shown to TV audiences around the world. "50 seconds of video footage which are to furnish answers to the question, who shot Mohammed al-Dura?" 2 months later, General Samir holds a press conference to present the findings of his investigations. Outside Israel, it warrants scant attention.
Here we can see again on this picture by photographs, we can see the post and 4 unmanned towers, which are used only during quiet time, not during shooting. We can see the twins, which are 6 floors, each one of them. This is the wall. About the middle of the wall is the cylinder, and we measured the area and we found out the range from the most northern point of the post is less than 120 meters, and I'm checking the smallest place behind the concrete cylinder, what we called here barrel. By measuring the angles 124.4, 166.8, give us an angle of 42.4 degree. And here we made a scope on the cylinder, and we can see a place with a size of 74 centimeter and 96 centimeter behind this cylinder, which can give, I can't say plenty of room, but enough place to the father and his son to be hidden from the IDF positions.
Consequently, the father and son could not have been in the line of fire of the Israeli soldiers. But could the bullet which killed Mohammed have penetrated through the concrete barrel? The original concrete barrel no longer exists, but it is a standard Israeli-made product. Height almost 1 meter. Width 78 centimeters. Thickness 8 centimeters. The scene is reconstructed in the desert in order to determine the penetration capacity of the bullets and the probable angle of fire using a comparable concrete barrel and stones from the original wall. The reconstruction is filmed by the army. Test rounds are fired from Israeli M16s at the wall and at the concrete barrel. The M16s do not penetrate the concrete barrel. In contrast, the original barrel shows visible bullet holes. No parallel tests are conducted to ascertain whether a Kalashnikov could penetrate the concrete barrel, because the Israeli army is only equipped with M16s. The bullet holes in the wall are also measured precisely. Depending on the angle of the entry, the impact holes were of different shapes, circular or oval. These measurements were compared with the original bullet holes as the video shows. Result, the bullets which hit Mohammed and Jamal al-Dura must have been fired from an angle of over 40 degrees. This effectively rules out the soldiers as culprits.
I can say that it is quite possible that the boy and his father were hit by a Palestinian bullets in the course of the exchange fire between the post and the 7 sources of fire during that time.
And one of these 7 sources of fire was located on the 2 high-rise blocks, or twins. The angle of fire from here would be over 40 degrees, as required.
It was obvious from the examination that the bullet entered from the front and from above,
said the pathologist. Who could have been shooting diagonally from above? Possibly snipers, from this vantage point. The house lies behind the Israeli outpost and in a direct line of fire to the site of the shooting, and the twins were not only used for peaceful purposes. Similarly, the shots penetrating the roof of the outpost must have also been fired from the twins. An easy target were the Israeli soldiers perched in the watchtowers.
They went to a protected position, almost ground level.
If shots were fired at the outpost from above, then even a trained sniper using an automatic Kalashnikov would have a so-called zone of dispersion of around 20 meters, and everyone agreed that automatic weapons were used.
The weather was raining bullets.
It was automatic machine gun fire.
That machine gun rounds were fired is also proven by the video. Dust is thrown up and automatic shots can be heard.
We didn't fire an automatic weapon. They found us automatic weapon.
Snipers are trained to aim and hit a target accurately, especially from a short range. However, automatic fire scatters and is consequently less accurate. Eight months after Mohammed's death, this clip is still running on Palestinian TV. The martyrdom of Mohammed before the eyes of millions. He is seeking protection in the arms of his father, but he is hit by the damned bullets. Initially, such video clips were aired every hour. Months later, they are shown less frequently, but still remain unchanged. Palestinian TV holds steadfastly to the version that the Israeli soldiers are to blame. This soldier, captured on film at a different location, is presented to the audiences as Mohammed's murderer.
These are forms of artistic presentation, but all this serves to convey the truth and explain a specific event. We never forget our higher journalistic principle, to which we are committed, of relating the truth and nothing but the truth.
يعني نحن لم نخرج في يوم من الأيام عن هدفنا السامي الذي نلتزم به كإعلاميين، وهو نقل الحقيقة بشكل صادق.
خبر عن ذاك الطفل، عن طفل يحبني أبيه.
The video clips are aimed primarily at a target audience of children and teenagers. Mohammed, the innocent hero, is set to become the role model of his generation. How beautiful is the breeze of the martyr. How beautiful is the scent of the land, which is fed from the waterfall of blood, springing from an angry body.
ما أجمل رائحة الأرض.
I am waving to you not in farewell, but to beckon you to follow me, Mohammed Al-Dura. This video clip was commissioned by the Palestinian Ministry of Education. The media regularly reports from the summer holiday camps.
We are teaching them that after the suicide attacks, the man who makes it go to the highest state in paradise.
This is how they bid farewell to the martyr. Respect, love and admiration for the one who sacrificed his life for his homeland, Palestine. And this is how Palestine is depicted in the new school books. The State of Israel does not exist. This is where Mohammed went to school, and here his classmates are now learning who killed him. Another photo opportunity. Captured on film, his tragic death brought him worldwide fame, as it did the cameraman who shot the pictures. Talal Abu Rahma won Cameraman of the Year award in France, one of the countless honours and prizes he received for filming this footage in a hail of bullets. Yet despite showing the death of Mohammed al-Dura, his pictures do not reveal who shot him, even if millions of people are convinced of having seen just that. The whole tape has never been shown at any festivals, not even here in Perpignan. The members of the jury were only shown the material broadcast to TV audiences across the world.
How long did you film them sitting there?
Well, maybe about 6 minutes. You'll be surprised, everybody 6 minutes is easy for him. But he doesn't know this 6 minutes. This makes 6 minutes, I took it in 45 minutes shooting in the boat.
6 minutes. And what did France do release?
The original video is a copy of the video we got by microwave. This was given by EBU to EBU, Reuters and AP that evening. The full scene.
So all the material you have was given out?
Yes.
50 seconds of footage. His cameraman, however, mentioned 6 minutes, which were filmed over a 45-minute period. During this time, at least 12 shots hit the father and son. Not one of them can be seen on the tape. The original tape has never been released.
So you never saw the full tape?
No. And France do hold it as their material, and I don't think that they are right. Because if you have such a material that burned up an issue so high, what you have to lose? Unless they have something to lose.
I believe firmly that nothing has been manipulated. Nothing has been manipulated. There is no fabrication, there is no manipulation, and anybody accusing Talal, me, France 2, of fabricating or manipulating, for us it's enough, and we could go to court about that.
In many countries of the Arab world, streets have been named after Mohammed, also in the city of Tunis. Here it is in this fashionable quarter, near to the private residence of Yasser Arafat and the Palestinian embassy. And in the city's bazaar, the picture of the father and his murdered son has also become a familiar image. The official news broadcasts also reported that Jamal al-Dura was visiting Tunisia at the invitation of the trade unions.
Muhammad is a symbol for the Palestinian people and the Arab nation. That is a reason for me to feel proud.
وهذا فخر واعتزاز.
باسم الشهيد محمد درة
Tunisia is just one more stage in his travels as the ambassador of the Intifada. He has already journeyed to Egypt, Jordan, Libya, Iraq, and attended the major UN conference against racism in South Africa to tell his story. The story of his son's murder at the hands of Israeli soldiers. In the meantime, his death has spawned films, songs, poems, stamps, and autographs, financed by Libya and distributed by Jamal al-Dura.
صورة محمد قبل استشهاده يعني بعدة أيام.
This is the picture of Muhammad a few days before his martyr's death. And here is another picture taken prior to his death. This is a damning indictment of the Zionist Nazi entity which badly injured Muhammad and myself and ultimately murdered him.
الكيان الصهيوني النازي اللي قام بقتل محمد وإصابتي بإصابات بليغة جدا.
Jamal continues to travel widely, thousands of kilometers, yet he no longer enters Israel to visit Moshe, his friend and former employer. They still telephone sometimes. The daily journey home leaves no doubts. The settlers live in enemy territory. Since the 30th of September 2000, they can only travel in a military convoy. When their bus approaches, the junction is blocked off to other traffic. This takes about 1 minute. 1 minute of every hour in which the occupiers have the right of way. Nevertheless, this didn't prevent an Israeli tank from being blown to pieces right on this spot. The settlers' solution is written on these stickers. No Arabs, no attacks. Moving away from here would be tantamount to capitulation for them, and allegedly no one has yet capitulated. On the contrary, in the 12 months following Mohammed's death, the settlement has allegedly grown to around 58 families and 400 people, mainly children.
The reason I'm prepared to live here is because I believe it is important. There have always been pioneers. I've chosen to be a pioneer who has settled here.
As long as the settlers choose to live here, the soldiers will be here too. We came, we guarded, we succeeded. Only a miracle can save us, are the words imprinted on his T-shirt. They are all anxious to leave. Ariel, Alexei and Idan have served their time, but the images will stay with them.
Words cannot really balance pictures. And of course, one picture is broadcast over and over and over, all over the world. Then comes an investigation team. Who cares? Who